What is poppin', y'all? Welcome back to another YouTube video. Today we're taking a look at another film review, another show review, series review. I have made a separate playlist now. A couple of you have been mentioning that, I should make a separate playlist for series review because of the film review playlist getting pretty chunky and pretty full. So I am separating the two, and I will be talking about two in different ways as of now. It is a show based around the game Dungeons & Dragons, and a certain group of people have their sort of hand in making it, and have certain sets of characters. I do believe they have their own podcast and game and spin-off to Dungeons & Dragons, and they're like Critical Role. They're like the people that make head decisions at Dungeons & Dragons HQ. I could be wrong with that, but that's what I think is right. But I really like the series, and it's on Amazon Prime, and it does have Season 2 out now, but right now we're going to be looking at Season 1. So, Vox Machina is a band of 8 unlikely heroes find themselves on a quest to save the realm of, I can't say that, from dark magical forces. So, the first season has the heroes coming together, already together by the start of the show, which is always quite nice. We don't have an origin for how they met each other, and that can be explored later. We just get straight into it. We get introduced to each one of the characters. They are not the best type of heroes. They're not like the greatest heroes. However, they do take down a dragon within the first couple of episodes. This does then lead them to be knighted, given a little house in the castle, which then is attacked by darkness, and then they have to go on a quest to find the villain who created these darkness creatures and put a stop to it before they corrupt and end the world. They end up going through many different dungeons, going through many vast lands, getting the help of some people, and saving I don't remember the names, so I am going to give them nicknames. And some guy has a Plague Doctor mask. So they save Plague Doctor's sister from being essayed and killed. And they then continue going on their quest with getting new artifacts, but with Percy rescuing that's his name, Percy. I don't know why it just came to me now, but with Percy rescuing his sister, he does go straight to, I don't know, his gun is evil, and there's a demon soul inside, so it slowly starts taking over him, and every time he uses it and puts on the Plague Doctor mask, it starts to corrupt him, and he does turn against his friends, and he does want to kill the two villains, but the rest of Vox Machina don't want to kill them. They just want to be like, hey, peaceful, don't have to kill. If you kill them, it will corrupt you completely. It will take over if you kill these two. So they're trying to stop Percy, whilst also trying to stop the others from ending the world. So it's a pretty good final fight with a lot of stakes and a lot of suspense, as they have to fight their friend and the enemy at the same time to save the world from total destruction and darkness. I thought it was a really good intro to the series, as we had a very good introduction to all the characters, getting to know them, getting to know what they're like as they go across this journey and this adventure, with little episodes dedicated to each character and little scenes showing little characteristic traits and interests, and they interweave getting to know the characters so well with each story, and it flows so nicely. And it has a very good sort of pacing. It's not too quick, it's not too slow. They don't rush over things. They do take their time with it, and I really do appreciate that, and I really do like that. We have 8 characters and a bear. We do have 2 elves, a brother and a sister. One is an archer. The other one is a knife expert. He's a thief. We do have a bear, which is owned by the elf sister. We have a tree elf as well, who is good with nature. We have 2 dwarfs, one which is a cleric and follows the way of the light, the other one which is a bard and talks about segs and corn all the time. And then we have the big muscly brute, which just reminds me of Drax the Destroyer. I don't really know what he is. I think he's like a troll, if anything. And that is our band of heroes. My personal favorite two are the elf, wood elf girl, and the main elf guy. Those two are my favorites. Also, we have Percy the human. They all have their unique fighting styles. They all have their unique personality traits, and sadly, the bad is the hoodie little corn-deprived gremlin of a character who is very much a pervert, and I don't like him. I think he's an awful character. He does have his moments to shine, but I still don't like him as a character, and I think they focus too much on his hoodie side. And again, with adult cartoons, that does bring it down a couple of notches in my book, because it isn't needed. It's there for a quick laugh. It's there to try and get people talking like, oh god, he's disgusting and gross. And it just sort of makes people hate the character. So I don't get why they do it. It's not a nice personality trait to have or to like show. And putting a lot of time on it sort of devalues the show and just takes away from what a good show it is. That's just my personal opinion. But I don't like those scenes with him running his eggplant around, or thinking with his eggplant. Either one works. But yeah, the animation style is that of the Amazon Prime. It follows its own sort of animation style, which all of its shows follow. Like Invincible has the same similar art style to it. A couple of DC shows have the same art style to it. I think it's like Justice League and Teen Titans have the same art style to these two shows. Oh, that's what it reminds me of anyway. And it's really beautiful in some of the shots. Like, some of the shots have really beautiful backgrounds, and they do put a lot of effort into the animation in the backgrounds. Again, being Dungeons and Dragons, it is a vast open world, and there is a lot to see and a lot to look at and a lot to explore. And it can be overwhelming to be introduced to all that so quickly, but they do take their time with it. They don't shove it all in your face, like I think a couple of other things do. They sort of gradually ease you into it, starting you off in a basic kingdom, starting you off fighting a dragon. Nothing too out of the ordinary, because dragons and castles have always been around in media. They're easy to understand, they're easy to get. It's nothing too overwhelming. And we start to gradually get into the more harder to grasp things in Dungeons and Dragons, with the magic and the dark creatures and the demons, as the series goes on a lot further. And I like how it does that, because it shows the characters are evolving, it shows the threat levels rising, and it shows the danger and the tension going through as well. The voice actors are decent. I'm not going to say they're the best. Some of the emotions aren't expressed enough. Some of them are quite weak with expressing emotions. I can't do as good a job as they did, but still I know other actors and other voice actors who can do better than them. So I am going to knock a few points off for voice acting. But the animation is really beautiful. The shading is great as well. Just look at these shadows and the lighting here. It just looks so good. And it has 12 episodes, all at around 20 to 40 minutes each. I know that's a big gap, but it's a long-ass show for you to watch, but it is a good-ass show for you to watch. I did watch this when I first started working. It was one of the shows which I started working with. And when season 2 came out, I was like, God damn, I've been working here for a while now. And it's the longest job I've had. And I don't know, this series sort of celebrates it, in my opinion. I don't know, it's like a milestone every time a new season of this comes out, because there is a third season in the works. I do like the artifacts and the side characters that get introduced, again with Percy's sister, the villains. The villains do feel threatening, the villains do feel powerful, but that is because our heroes are pretty weak and are pretty lackluster, and they struggle fighting as a team, and that's what we see as the season goes on. We see them growing as a team, we see them getting better at fighting together, and we see them uniting more often and getting the hero status that they truly deserve and the legendary title that they want. The Legend of Vox Machina is what this show is fully called. It is the legend, and it is told from the bard's point of view. But it is a really good final fight, and we do have stakes. We have a lot of injury, we have a lot of blood and gore, we have people getting their heads chopped off, blood, guts flying everywhere, but when it happens to one of our main 8, it's impactful. It shows the connection each character has with one another as they're rushing to help, as their facial expressions change, and as the danger builds and the music changes as well. The music is really good and works well to build the tension throughout the series, and it works well to sort of set the scene as when we're looking at a landscape, it's like a beautiful sort of calming tone with birds, and then it will quickly change to something quite fast-paced as a fight begins or a disaster happens. And that's how it gets you. It gives you this false sense of security with a nice landscape, and then poof, our characters are falling through it, our characters are fighting through it. And it introduces some of the battles that way, or introduces some of the threats that way. And I think it's a really cool sort of shock factor, but they don't overdo it either. They sort of do it once, twice, maybe 3 times, and it's a good way at sort of setting threat and setting danger and getting you onto the edge of your seat really quickly as the dramatic change gets to you on the first time watching. Second, third time watching it, you probably know it's coming and not going to be as on the edge of your seat again, knowing what happens. But still, it is an excellent series with some excellent characters, and they've got their own McFarlane toys, their McFarlane figures, and they have their own U2's figures as well. Keyleth, the wood elf, has her own U2's, and she is one of the characters I like, as well as the connection that she has with the main elf as well. Their growing love, you can sort of see, you can see how awkward they are with each other. You can see that they're in love without them actually telling you that they're in love, and you can see their love slowly grow and blossom as the series goes on, which I think is really cool as well, because it's the connections between these characters which you can see growing as well. Like the two dwarfs, you can see them, I think they're actually gnomes, I could be wrong, as them two, obviously one of them's a holy person and the other one is a con addict. We have them growing in love as well, but he can't control his hot dog, and he keeps ruining it and ruining the relationship that they have together, and he's upset that she's upset and that she doesn't like him as much, but she does like him, she just doesn't like what he's doing. And it's that sort of back and forth that those two characters have a good sort of connection and a good sort of character to connect with, but it just also makes you angry at the other one for constantly making the same mistakes, constantly doing the thing that she doesn't like, and he knows she doesn't like it, and he knows he likes her, but he keeps going and using his wang with others. And it's just so sad to see. And they all have like their doubts, they all have their worries, they all have that sort of voice in the back of their mind which you guys can hear as viewers, but none of the other team can hear, and it just shows how they feel with each other, and how like they feel like they're letting the team down or feel like they're a burden. And not every one of the team needs to know that. Not every one of the team needs to know, but as long as one person that they care about in the team knows, it sort of lets us as viewers know how they're feeling, and then it sort of puts it in perspective, and we can see the stress that they're under and sort of see how each fight makes them feel and makes them sort of react in a way. And honestly, this is an excellent series. I am going to give it a 8 out of 10. Personally, I am dropping a couple of points because I don't want to keep putting everything in the high end. And I know there is other better shows out there, but it's the voice acting that's bringing it down. It is the voice acting. Everything else in it is really good and really impactful and really meaningful. It is a really good world to be in as well, with like wizards and Dungeons and Dragons. It's just such a vast world to sort of explore. But other than that, hope you all enjoyed. See you on the next one, and bye-bye.